Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online Let's Talk video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm going to be doing a little Q&A kind of thing, answering some questions, kind of clearing up some stuff, and just so people have more of an understanding of why I'm doing the things I'm doing with my channel, and I'm not focusing on like in-game and stuff like that. Alright, first off, the first question that I get asked a lot is, why are you doing so many different roles with one character? Why are you doing tank, healer, damage dealer? Well, the reason I'm doing that is because this way people can see what they can do with one character. Instead of being focused on this idea that we have to play under a Trinity rule, I want to show you how you can play the Trinity in that one character. Because I know a lot of people don't see that in the game's design or its structure, but it really is made to be that way. That's why they give us so many different gear sets in the game, is to allow us different tools to create a dynamic amount of different characters that can play a lot of different roles. Now, a lot of people have also asked me is, why don't you do in-game builds? I'm not an in-game player. That's the truth. I do in-game, like trials and stuff, but I'm not here to be the best. I just play them to complete them. That's it. So I don't use a lot of in-game builds because I already know that most people don't have access to those tools. They don't have access to the in-game stuff because they don't focus on playing it. There's already people that focus on playing that, and they show you the best options available for the type of character you want to play. But they're only showing you how to play the one role. They're not showing you how to take that one character and play all the different roles. Now, I will be doing a video here soon showing how to make a healer into an in-game healer into a character, a full-on character that can play tank, healer, and damage dealer. In fact, you guys can see here, I have Bogdan's, I have Infallible Aether, and I have Perfect Olorum as my setup on this build. And this is just to show you that you can take an in-game character and play them like this, if you so choose. And that's because I'm not going to tell you you have to play this way. I'm just showing you the tools available if you so choose to play that way. And that's it. So that's one of the reasons why I don't focus on in-game. I don't play in-game. I don't do trials to be the best. I do trials just to get them done and to do the story of them. That's it. I do it to complete the content. I can do it in normal, and if I want something a little bit more challenging, I can play them on veteran. And the challenge of playing them on veteran for me is basically playing them with the character I have and facing that challenge. Yeah, it's going to be a lot harder. It might take longer to do, but you know what? That's part of the game. And that's what I love about playing that way, is I love to take on those challenges in the most challenging way possible. By challenging my character. Not challenging a build, challenging my character. Because the more effective you become with playing your character, the better you are at playing the game. And that's why I play my characters a lot of different ways. I play them as tanks, as healers, as damage dealers, as whatever, because I want to find how many different ways I can play them. Now, a lot of people have asked me, why did you switch to doing this? Well, the reason I switched to doing these kind of things is, one, I'm a role player. In real life, that's my favorite hobby, is role-playing games. I play a lot of them. I play Dungeons and Dragons, I play Shadowrun, I play Cyberpunk, Palladium games. I've played pretty much every pen and paper game that's ever been created, including things like Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game, which is based on the Warhammer's miniatures game, which also became a PC strategy game, and also became an online role-playing game called Warhammer Online, and it all derived from this miniatures game. Just like World of Warcraft. A lot of you guys don't realize this. World of Warcraft wasn't based on Dungeons and Dragons. It was based on miniature wargaming. And then they made an online version, a computer version, called Warcraft, which was basically the same thing as playing the miniatures version, like playing Warhammer. And then they took it and they made it more into this. In fact, most pen and paper games are based off of Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons was created from miniature wargaming called chainmail. So a lot of the stuff that I do in these games is derived from my knowledge and experience of playing role-playing games. And somebody said that in order for me to reach a broader audience, I need to show people what they can do in the game. So I did. I looked at what knowledge and experience I had, and I said, what can I do to apply it to this game? So I started to show people the different things. But I still was stuck in the mindset, as everyone else was, that we have to play the Trinity: tank, healer, damage dealer. And that means, because of the way this game has the role system, as you can see, with this character, I can choose the role I want to play. It's not built into my character when I create them. It's not like World of Warcraft. When you make a character in World of Warcraft or EverQuest or Vanguard, when you choose a warrior, you get this option: damage dealer, tank. That's it. And they are designed to be a tank mostly. They can play damage dealer really well, but they're not as effective as somebody who's designed for it, like a rogue or a ranger, or in Warcraft sense, the rogue and the hunter. Those ones are designed to do damage, and mainly damage. In fact, every aspect of that class is designed around damage. But then you had priests. Priests were designed to be healers, but they also had a damage dealer counterpart that you could play. Not a lot of people played the damage dealer counterpart because they're more effective as priests. Just like in this game, a lot of people see a role and they think, well, if I'm going to play a healer, I have to play a healer. And I have to make my character based around that. You don't. You can make your character to be based around support, and in this way you can do more effectively. When you're playing a healer, you're more supportive to your group. When you're playing a tank, you're more supportive for your group. And even when you're playing a damage dealer, you can be more supportive for your group. And that's the thing a lot of people misinterpret about this game's design and structure, is they've been taught by these other games that we have to play a specific way. So that's why I do the classes, and that's why I'm doing the builds. Like, I do character builds, which just explain the character itself, like the name of it, what race I chose, the gear sets I'm using, that kind of stuff. And then when I break it down into roles, I show you how I take advantage of these gear sets in that role, and the different tools available, and in different roles. And I even say, like, this thing is more, like with the Soul Reaver, I said this thing's more stamina focused. It can play healer, but it's more focused towards stamina. So when I made it a healer, I still had it use a two-handed weapon on the front bar with a resto staff on the back bar, because that's going to make it, that's its most effective play style, is stamina focused. So utilizing the tools of the game, I created a character based around that. Just like with the Dark Paladin. Yes, it's a heavy armor character, but if you notice the sets I chose, I made it to have the tools necessary to be support and damage dealer at the same time. This way it could take advantage of all the different roles of tank, healer, and damage dealer in any format it wanted. Being a pure magic DPS, being a stamina DPS, being a tank, or being a healer. I use the sets to my advantage. So when you guys are wondering why I do the different thing, I've been doing this differently, is because I'm just showing you more options and ways you can play one character. So you don't limit your ability to play the game. You can actually expand your ability to play the game by utilizing the tools. Another question I get asked a lot is, why do you show so many skills unlocked? It's because you get a lot of skill points in the game. A lot of people don't take advantage of the skill points they earn, because most of them are set on this idea we have to play a specific role: tank, healer, damage dealer. Now when you create a new character, it's better to focus onto a role, that's for sure. But as you progress your character along through the content, and you unlock more skill points, you unlock more tools available, you can actually start adjusting your role or your character to play all the different roles. And that's why I created the starter builds the way I did: tank, healer, damage dealer. Or tanks, and I did them in light, medium, and heavy, was to show how you could play those different roles with tank first. I was going to do healer, and I was going to do damage dealer with light, medium, and heavy, just to show you, like, hey, this is what you can do if you want to play this way. And that's just to give you a starting example of your character. But it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time for me to make all these different videos. And in order for me to do that, I have to consume a lot of my personal time to do it. And that's what I've been doing. It takes me roughly 20-30 minutes to make a build video or a role video, and to make a character build, put it together, test it, make sure it's all working as intended in all the different roles, all that stuff. That can take me a day or two just to test and verify it's working. Then I have to put it together as the primary role it is normally, like in this case the stamina character, magicka character, or a heavy armor character, more survivable character, and then I can show you that, and then I can say this is how it can work in these roles. Boom. And it's just showing you the simplest idea, and that's it. So that's that part. And the reason I show so many different skills unlocked is because the more skills your character has available, the more tools you have available to use in different situations. A lot of people ask me, why would you use repentance on a magicka character when I'm playing stamina? That way I have access to it. Because when I'm playing magicka, I actually have another tool that has the same effect this does on the magicka morph, or on the other morph of this, in my destruction staff. It's called Elemental Drain. It applies magicka steel. Just like in restoration staff, there's Siphon Spirit. If I want to use this, I can. It also does minor life steal and magicka steel. But nobody uses it because it takes 1.5 seconds to cast. So when you go to cast it, it takes longer. Just like with destruction staff. A lot of people don't use all the destruction staff abilities because they focus on this idea you have to play one way. You have to use the certain abilities one way. Crushing Shock is a great ability for magicka DPS. Also, to interrupt enemies, it's great for tanks. It's also really great for healers to use because it does do that interrupt. And it stuns them and sets them off balance for 3 seconds when you interrupt them while they're casting. That's a great ability to have. Any tool in the game has its purpose. Some tools you might not like. You might not like how they work, but it doesn't mean that they're less or more efficient. A lot of people see Ransack as a bad choice for a tank because you're going to get minor resolve when you're with a healer that's running combat prayer from the restoration staff. But that means you have to have this ability all the time when you're playing a healer. Well, I don't want to use this ability all the time when I'm playing a healer. I might want to use other abilities to offset my group's capabilities of playing the game. Like, I might not use combat prayer, but I might use blessing and protection, or the other morph that does the minor ward, minor resolve for a longer period of time. Because I know that my group is going to struggle at first with survivability. So having a tool that allows them better survivability before we focus on being better at damage, so they can learn the content. So see, there's a lot of different options here in different tools and how you can use them. I will be going through and covering everything. I will be doing a class thing that covers every class skill and every class passive in like one video. And then I'll do one based on like two-handed, and I will do that in one video, explaining the passives and the skills and how you can utilize them. The same thing with every weapon skill in the game. I'll do the same thing explaining armor, world skills, guild skills, alliance skills, racial stuff, and class crafting stuff. This way you have a greater understanding of how these tools work. Because a lot of people don't realize how these tools work because they only see what they're shown. And see, that's another mistake that a lot of us content creators make. We show people how to play the game the best we can. Okay? Some people focus on creating these in-game builds like like Outcast and Asian God and many of these other people, but they show you how to make the most efficient kind of build possible to play in the trial setting. You take that character outside of the trial setting and they still work, but they're not as effective as what this kind of character can do. Because this character can be solo, it can solo play, it can play as a tank, it can play as a healer, it can play PvP. Because it's set up to play all the different aspects of the game. It's not focused on this idea, it has to play one. So that's another thing. But I do plan on doing guides on all this, just like I plan on showing you guides on how you can set up your in-game characters to do the same thing. And I can even explain how you can use different sets and different advantages. That's where my character builds come in. And then the roles for those builds are going to show you how you can take advantage of those gear sets, of the tools of your character and everything to play that way if you so choose. Because that's what a role-playing game is all about. It's about the choices you have available to create the kind of character you want. Now, another question I get asked a lot is, why didn't you do this in the beginning? Blinded. Just like everyone else, I was so focused on the idea that you had to play tank, healer, or damage dealer. Because that's what I was told in other games we had to do. And everyone here knows that medium armor is the best for stamina DPS, light armor is the best for magicka DPS, but what they don't understand is it's more or less this. If you want to be a magicka-based character, light armor is going to be the better option. You want to be a stamina-based character, medium armor is the best option. You want to be a more survivable character, heavy armor is the best option. They all have their different tools, and I will be going over these in a video when I explain the armors and how they work in each role, tank, healer, and damage dealer. So you can see for yourselves how different aspects of the character will work in those different sets. And it's just to open your mind to the idea of, hey, I can do this. And that's it. It's not to restrict your ability to play, it's to expand it. Alright, another question I get asked a lot. Why do I choose the races I do for the builds? I like to show you the best options first. And then tell you that if you don't like this option, you can play other races, you just have to adjust for it. You got to understand, not every race is going to play every build type the same. Like if you play a high elf, they're more effective for magicka stuff. So if you played a high elf dark paladin, they would be better if you played them more magicka based than stamina based. You could take advantage of that stuff. If you play a dark elf, you can take advantage of both sides, magicka and stamina. Just like if you play a dragon knight, and you choose this, you know, what is going to be the best race for you to play a dragon knight? Well, any race can play a dragon knight, and any race can play any role. It just depends on the race and the perspective of play you want it to take. If you wanted to do stamina DPS, be more focused towards that, then choose a race that's going to be more focused towards that. And there's several options. You have the Orc, you have the Nord, you have the Imperial, you have the Khajiit, you have the Dark Elf, you have a Wood Elf, and those are 7 out of the 10 races can play stamina really good. Now what about magicka? Well, Dark Elf, Khajiit, Argonian, High Elf, Breton, and that's 5 out of the 10. They can play magicka really good. What about tanks? Well, they all can play tank. What's going to be better? Well, the ones that reflect that. Argonian, Nord, Imperial, and Khajiit are going to be your better options for tank. But it doesn't mean that those other races don't work. They're just as effective. They just don't have the same attribute layout as those races. Just like when I was messing around the other day with the Paladin build, not the Dark Paladin, the actual Paladin build that I'm going to be releasing next week. And I broke it down in such a way that I took advantage of every aspect of it. The gear sets I chose, everything. And it works out really good. In fact, it works out so good, it literally blew my mind how effective this build is. It doesn't even use the same sets as the Dark Paladin. In fact, it doesn't even use anything close to the same sets. It uses different sets to offer different functionality for the way it plays. And it just works out so much better. So I can't wait to show you guys that one, because it's a lot of fun. I also have the Lord Knight coming, Meridia's Guardian. I have Dragon Guard redone, revamped, repurposed, and it's awesome because it works so good in all 3 aspects of magicka DPS, stamina DPS, and tank and healer. It's just an all-around good character. I also have the Dragon Priest, which is coming. I have the what is it? The Paladin of Jonah Jude, which is coming, because I'm doing some themed ones too based on races. So I'm doing like the paladin. For when I do the paladin, it's going to be the paladin of Joan and Jude, which is the Khajiit paladin. So, and I'm going to use my Khajiit type character for it. And it's really cool. It was a lot of fun making that character and putting it together and choosing the right sets that I felt would reflect that character's playability really well. And I can utilize so many different tools as a tank, as a healer, as a damage dealer, that I can take advantage of the sets and the way it works more effectively. So I hope you guys are excited for some of these things that I have coming. Meridia's Guardian is getting a complete revamp. This update. The set, one of the sets is staying the same. Actually, two of the sets. The monster set and the Meridia's Blessed Armor are still the main sets for the build. But I actually have another set that I'm incorporating instead of using Plague Doctors. Because I'm going to make this build work versatile. It's going to be a tank, a healer, damage dealer, all in one. But it's going to focus more towards stamina than it does magicka. And that's because it's more of a knight type character instead of like a paladin. Like if I'm going to make a paladin, I want it to be more focused on a paladin. The ability to be support and stuff like that. So, but that's it for those questions that I keep getting asked, like, do you plan on doing this other stuff? And another question I do get asked and I want to answer real quick is, do I plan on doing more group content videos showing dungeons and stuff like that? Yes, I do. It's going to take me a little bit of time because now that I know I can do this with characters, I want to go through all of my characters and change them into the ways I want them to play. And that's going to take me a long time, guys, because that's reformatting all my characters in their design. And it's not crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun to do it. And then to bring them forth and show you guys, say, hey, check this out. This is my new Sork character that I play. This is my new... because my Meridia's Guardian is going to be my main character. I'm going to be turning them into that. And then my Khajiit is becoming the Paladin. And then my two new characters, one is a Dark Elf, and one is a Khajiit. One's going to be the Dark Paladin character I released, which is my Khajiit, and then I have another kind of similar to the Meridia's Guardian, but this one is called Molag's Molag's Defender, and it's basically the opposite of Meridia's Guardian. So it's based on that same premise. It doesn't use the same sets either. It uses different sets to make it more aggressive in physical damage, but it works out really well to where you can play it as a stamina DPS, a tank, or a healer. It's not a very good healer, I'm not going to lie, but it can play healer if necessary. I would probably stick with playing it mostly as a tank and stamina DPS myself. But I'll still have access to a lot of magicka abilities that I can take advantage of in different situations. So, but yeah, that's it. That's what I got going on. And here's the other thing you guys got to understand too. Where do I get most of my inspiration to play this game? When I hear from you guys, and you guys talk about the different ways you like to play the game or like to have your character work. I actually take those and I break them down mentally into what I would want to do with them for myself. Then I just recreate that idea a lot of times. Like the Lich Mother build was actually based off of a friend's idea for a necromancer, and when they told me it was instantaneous. Everything rushed into my head what I wanted to do with it, and I just put it together and put it out. And I knew exactly how well it would work in those roles because I've already played it. I know it sounds weird. The same thing goes with the if you guys don't know, the Witchblade is actually based off of a D&D character that my sister-in-law plays. And she's a huge fan of the necromantic arts in Dungeons & Dragons, and that's what she plays. She plays a Dark Elf Necromancer in Dungeons & Dragons. And I took that concept of her character and incorporated it into this game to where it plays like her character. That's why it uses a flaming enchant in one hand, and in the other hand it uses this other type of dagger. Is because that's what her character wields. She uses a flaming longsword and a dagger, a Vorpal dagger. And her longsword is actually one that she created by summoning. She was trying to summon something from the depths of hell with this book she has. And when she did, she brought forth this imp. And the imp, like, collapsed upon itself and became this sword. So the sword is actually an imp that was converted into a blade, because she used magic, and she used not only her necromantic magic, she used the ability to do what she does through magic, because she's really, her character itself will become really powerful in time. It's just she doesn't realize when she first started with magic how powerful her character will become. She doesn't understand that yet. She's going to find out as she plays her character. But even in that game, she's a wizard, she's a necromancer, but she uses a sword and dagger because I allow her to in my story. Because I don't restrict my players' abilities to do certain things in the game. Only in the beginning. As they progress their characters, I allow them to learn new proficiencies and other things so they can expand their characters and their ability to play. And that's why I love ESO so much. But you guys didn't know that. See, I keep getting asked, where do I get my inspiration to make all these different characters? A lot of it is stuff that I've, like, my own ideas, but a lot of it is also inspired by you guys. When you guys show me different things that you do, and how you guys might expect things to work. Or you guys might even just ask me a simple question, like, hey, do you have any ideas or suggestions for a Templar running sword and shield and dual wield? Yeah, actually I do. I got a really good one. And it's really good because it can play that way all the time if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to learn any other tools, just dual wield in that. And you could tank, heal, and do damage with it, if you so choose. It's really hard to play it as a healer because your magicka recovery rate is wonky, but if you do it right, you can pull it off. And it's really good on an Argonia. That's probably the best option for it. And yeah, I plan on building it and showing you guys. This is my idea for this character. This is its name. This is what it's called. This is what I call the classification of it. And that's where the names come from, like Soul Reaver. That's the classification of how I depict it. And then I show you that it's a Dark Elf Necromancer, or it's a Nord Necromancer, because that is its actual representation, Nord Necromancer. The name is just how I represent its ability to, like the tool sets and everything that it uses to play that way. So, but yeah, that's it. I have a very creative mind, and in fact, I got to do something first before I tell you guys about it. So I'm going to do that, and then I will get back to you guys on it later. But that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it explained a little bit more on why I'm doing things a little bit differently. I just basically expanded my eyes. I didn't let my brain get closed off to the idea of a singular character. I opened it up and said, what can I do? Boom. This is what I can do. So I hope you guys liked it. And I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. If you did, you guys know what's coming next. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.